Hello crafty friends, I'm Lien from Studio Castell and I'm so glad you're joining me again today. Today is new release day over at Streamside Studios and I'm here with a Halloween card celebrating this new digital stamp set. This digital stamp set is called My Pet Ghost and it is adorable and a little bit morbid, perfect for Halloween cards. It comes with a bunch of great scene elements, like what I'm coloring now. I printed everything onto Fabriano Accademia paper, and I just used my inkjet printer for this because colored pencils aren't too fussy about which ink you use. These scene elements are, well, the gate, but the little walls I am coloring are pillars in the stamp set. I just turned them over on their sides to use as a little stone wall. I also sized them differently, which is the best thing in my opinion about digital stamps. You can size them however you want or whatever your scene needs. Now this is obviously not going to be my final card size, but I am going to make a mini slimline card out of this. I won't use all of the wall, that's why I'm not coloring it all. I still colored a little bit too much, but a little wiggle space is always good. Now it's super easy to color these bricks with colored pencils because paper that is great for colored pencils like this one, it will be listed in the description below, it is a little bit textured. So if you lightly color over it with your pencils, you will already get a great stone texture. Now I'm just going to emphasize that a little bit by taking a darker pencil for every color I'm using and just making little scuff marks in it. And to make it look a little bit more aged, I am also adding some moss or green slimy stuff. It's a Halloween card, it could be anything. I am just going to add green over every color, just a couple of spots on the stones. And yes, it's a Halloween card, it could be anything, is basically my whole thought process during this card. I colored all of the bricks and then I am going to add some more moss apparently. Thought I was done with the coloring bit, but apparently not. I don't make a lot of Halloween cards, but when I do, I like to use those traditional color schemes. And I also like to make it look a little bit scary or distressed or something like that. So I'm not too fussy about my coloring here. Like with the gate, I could have just sharpened my black pencil and gone just a little bit slower and I would have been able to follow those straight lines perfectly. But I wanted them to look not so perfect, a little wobbly, and that's exactly what I did. It's a little bit easier to color that way, but it honestly doesn't make that much of a difference. This was actually a conscious choice. I'm just going to color in that gate entirely. I will cover over those black letters that says Pet Cemetery a little bit, but I will fix that later just by tracing over it with a black fine liner. Now I put a strip of post-it tape over my brick wall and I'm tracing over the outline, which is super visible through that post-it tape, with a pencil to create a mask for the wall. I'm not bothering to make a mask for the gate because A, it would be too much effort, and B, it wouldn't matter that much anyway. Now I did run into a little trouble there. You can see the pencil is smudging, but why I wouldn't create a mask for anything like this if your coloring was with any other color than black. If you put enough pressure on your pencil, it will basically act as a resist, so it won't take the ink will glide right over it. Now again, if you use any color other than black, this would work, but my black pencil did smudge a little bit in that yellow ink. Again, I'm going to go with this. It doesn't matter too much. It's a Halloween card. It's a little dirty, a little grungy. It's perfect for what I want. Now the first glow effect on this card is in the background. I started with a light yellow ink, even though I would mostly cover it with green. So that creates a super light green shade, and it creates this glow effect as it goes into a darker background as well. Now, to blend the purple into the green without creating just brown, I did overlap the green with some blue for an easier transition. So don't be afraid to use an in-between color to make your blending easier, even if blue isn't technically part of the Halloween color scheme. Just to add a bit of texture and detail to my grass, I'm adding just a couple blades of grass with a colored pencil. And then I can die cut out my scene with the Pinkfresh Studio Mini Slimline Essentials die set. Now for these little ghosts, I had two things I wanted to achieve. I wanted them to have a glow effect in the coloring as well, and I also wanted them to still look like their animal selves, their living animal selves. I wanted them to still have a little bit of color that would remind you of the animal. Now I don't use the same coloring method for all of these. I switch up the order sometimes, but for the bunny I started with the gray and then added the glow at the end. Now for the little piggy, I am adding the glow first. I added that very fluorescent yellow greenish pencil and then added some more green as well. And then I'm adding in the pink. I am going to blend that glow and the pink together just a little bit. In stages, I am overlapping the pink a tiny bit with the glow, and then I am adding that fluorescent yellow over the pink on the outsides as well. And I'm going to do the same thing for the cat. I'm adding that fluorescent yellow, and then I decided I wanted to add the brown. For some reason, I skipped around a lot in this coloring process. And you can see I also add a little bit of shading in the animal colors. I just wanted them to have a little bit more dimension, and this seemed to achieve that. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really know where I was going with the coloring when I started out this card, but I'm glad where I ended up. So make sure you experiment with your coloring and you might find a new fun technique that you like. And the third glowing element in this card is the easiest to make. You just take some white pigment ink and a blending brush and you add a little glow touch of white to your background. I added this behind where I wanted my ghosts to be, and to make it a little bit more interesting, I added rough, very, very rough circles around it with a white gel pen. And that just creates that fun glowing halo that you might see in children's illustrations or something like that. I really like the effect and it's super easy to do. Today I made my cardstock out of black cardstock, so that saves me the trouble of creating a separate black matting layer. But I wanted to have a dark card base for this. I'll write on it with white gel pen probably, and I think it fits that Halloween feeling. Now I can just adhere my panel on there with some foam tape. I'm really packing it on, making sure there are no areas that are not covered in foam tape because those will sag in the mail. Now usually to avoid this, I would take a couple of pieces of thick white cardstock and layer those behind the background panel. But I was short on time today. I also didn't make a matching envelope, sorry about that. But yeah, so I was on a time crunch and I just took the foam tape that was next to me. And it saved me the time of cutting down my panels of white cardstock. I can then prop up my pet ghosts with some foam squares, and I did think that Kitten was looking a little bit too pale. It just wasn't colored well, so I added just a little bit more. And that finishes up the card. I didn't even add embellishments. How crazy is that? I really like how this card turned out. I hope you do too. If you did, make sure to leave a like on this video and leave your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to read them. Of course, you can also subscribe to my channel. That would mean the world to me. And you will get notified every time I will upload a new video. And I do post a lot of new videos. Now all I have to do is thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.